Pleased and privileged to have the Commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, join us. And Commissioner, great to have you in the booth with us.
Great to be here.
We were about to turn over that last play to you and let you call it and figure that one out.
You know, it was a nice quick replay. Did you notice that? Pretty snappy.
Yes.
It was fast.
Yeah.
It was good.
And that's one of the things we want to talk with you about. The whole time of game initiative that's gone on over the last year continues this year. As Jose Bautista leads off. So what else can we look for?
Well, this year I think that you'll see two things. The inning break clocks are going to be tighter, shorter, and we're going to be focused on the length of visits to the mound. I think pace of game is one of those things that each and every year you need some set of changes that keep people focused on making the game move along as quickly as possible, and those are the two we're going to be thinking about for this year.
2-1 to count on Bautista.
You know, one of the other things, obviously this year, the slide rule comes into play out at second base, you know, for good reason. You saw the injury that happened last year with Chase Utley and all of that. But, you know, what was the thought process in making that rule and then also changing the fact that the neighborhood play can now be reviewed?
Right. Well, we began with a very fundamental proposition that player safety ought to always be first. And the play around second base where, you know, somebody goes in late with no possibility of actually tagging and or staying on the bag, just seemed that play had too great a risk associated with it. Once we cleaned up that part of the rule, it seemed that the justification for allowing the neighborhood play to continue went down, and the changes really worked together, I guess is the best way to say it.
Well, let me ask you this. Was there any thought going in, because now with that neighborhood play being allowed to be reviewed, you're going to force some second basemen, especially on the play where they can't see, they're going to have to hang there just a tick longer. And even with a safe, clean slide, you're going to flip some guys, you would think.
Look, on balance, we think that the combination of the two changes will still make second base safer, but I recognize what you're saying. Obviously, you eliminate the neighborhood play. You got to stay just a second longer.
Yep.
But we're hoping that the combination of the rules will prove to be safer for players around the bag. And, you know, it'll be one of those things just like with the catcher rule when we went to that. There's going to be a couple of rough spots at the beginning, as there is with any change on the field. But I think if you keep your eye on the player safety issue, you're probably headed in the right direction.
Yeah. And all of this with an eye toward keeping the game, number one, safe, as you mentioned, but also more appealing. And that's what the whole time initiative is about in terms of marketing on the international side of making this game appealing. Even more so than it is. Encarnacion out on strikes there. You know, over the recent past, the game has received exposure in markets like Australia, Mexico, Panama, the recent trip to Cuba. What would you hope that the effect would be of all of that?
Well, it's short-term, long-term for us. Short-term, we have broadcasting arrangements in all those countries. We think when you take the product live there, let people see it, that it increases the value of those broadcast rights. It's good for our business. Over the long haul, we want to experiment with markets with an eye towards sustained play in those markets. And by sustained play, I either mean, you know, a few series in a year, or maybe a team located in a country outside the United States and Canada.
This is Troy Tulowitzki with a runner at first and one out. How about Europe? You know, and I say that because we actually receive a lot of emails and all of that from fans who watch us all over Europe, from France and the United Kingdom, you name it, there are fans there.
Yeah, there's absolutely there are baseball fans in Europe. There's some countries, Netherlands and Italy, most notably, where a fair amount of baseball is actually played. We think that is another market where we need to go put our foot in the water. I think the most likely site in Europe is probably London. There are facilities there that would be workable in terms of playing major league games, and we are anxious to do that.
Nice 2-0 slider for a strike to Tulowitzki.
What about some of the initiatives with the youth? I mean, you know that every sport, any sport, is only as good as the next generation. So what is Major League Baseball doing to guarantee that the youth, in the United States and really around the world at this point, love baseball and want to become involved?
Well, the key to young people becoming avid fans is making sure they play the game as kids. And that's why we've spent a lot of time and effort on the Play Ball initiative. We're trying to work with some great partners in the youth space, most notably Little League, Cal Ripken Baseball, to make sure that as many kids as possible are playing our great game. We have the RBI program and the Urban Youth Academies that are designed to provide opportunities to play in underserved areas, and we think the more kids we get playing the game, the more likely it is that we're going to keep filling ballparks like we filled this one today. The second piece of it is we want kids in the ballpark at an early age, and that's really a club-driven initiative. Our clubs do a great job at marketing to young people, and that's also another really important part of passing the game on to the next generation.
Well, Commissioner, we're so pleased to have you here in Tampa Bay. Let's talk about the sustainability of this franchise. We've been here a long time. I've been here from the beginning. The baseball interest here is keen. There's no question about that. Talk, if you can, as much as you can, about the path forward here.
I think the path forward is clear. I think that Tampa Bay, this region, is really fortunate. You have a committed and visionary ownership group, wants to make baseball work here in Tampa Bay. I think the key thing is to find a location and get a state-of-the-art baseball facility built in this market. People support the team. The ratings for this team on television are very good, and we need a ballpark in a location where fans will come and support what has been a really competitive franchise over time.
After the leadoff walk to Bautista, strikeouts of Encarnacion and Tulowitzki. Chris Colabello, the hitter now, with a 1-1 count. And Archer's up on him. We may run out of time, but this industry, baseball, has been blessed with labor peace. How can you speak to that in terms of where we are and what could be a pivotal year?
Well, we're off to a great start. We had formal openings in Florida and Arizona. Large number of players attended, gave each side an opportunity to talk about what its agenda is going to be. We have a very aggressive schedule of meetings early in the season, which is a great sign. So I'm optimistic that we're going to get it done again.
Colabello called out on strikes. Archer 3 strikeouts in the inning. Commissioner, pretty good job. A walk to lead it off, but 3 Ks.
There you go.
Great to have you here.
It was really my pleasure, and good luck to you guys this year.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you both.